Lena Morgan was not the kind of girl who scared easily. Horror movies didn't faze her, and she had no patience for ghost stories. She was a firm believer in logic, in the tangible, in things she could explain. That's why, when she found the laptop at a yard sale one crisp October morning, she didn't think twice about buying it. It was sleek, black, and barely looked used. The price tag read $50. Too good to be true, maybe. But Lena wasn't the type to pass up a deal. The man selling it was old, pale eyes, sunken cheeks, the kind of thin that suggested a lifetime of hard living. When she picked up the laptop, he cleared his throat. "You sure about that one?" His voice was dry, cracked. Lena smirked. "Yeah, why? It cursed or something?" He didn't laugh, just licked his lips and muttered, "Just don't use the camera at night." She rolled her eyes. Probably some weird paranoia about hackers or something. Whatever. She handed him the cash, tucked the laptop under her arm, and walked away. That night she set it up. It booted smoothly, faster than her old one. No bloatware, no junk files. Just one strange folder buried deep in the hard drive labeled videos. It was empty. Maybe the last owner had been into filming stuff. She shrugged it off. As she scrolled through her emails, the webcam light flickered. Once, twice. She barely noticed at first. Just a glitch probably. But it happened again the next day. And the next. Sometimes when she was working. Sometimes when the laptop was just sitting there, closed. On the fourth night, she woke up to a chime. Her laptop was open on her desk. The screen glowed in the darkness. New video uploaded. Her stomach clenched. She hadn't recorded anything. She clicked the notification. A file opened. It was grainy, dark, but recognizable. Her room, her bed, her asleep. She stared, feeling her pulse in her throat. The timestamp was from that very night, less than an hour ago. A chill crawled up her spine. She scrolled down. There were dozens of videos dating back to when she first got the laptop. All the same. Her, sleeping, the camera watching her. Her hands trembled as she clicked the most recent one. At first, it was like the others. She lay still, breathing deeply. But then, her sleeping body moved. Not the slow, natural shifting of someone rolling over. No, this was different. This was wrong. She sat up, her head tilting at an unnatural angle. Her eyes snapped open. They were black, empty, hollow voids that seemed to swallow the dim light from the screen. And then, she smiled. Not a normal smile. A wide, stretching grin that cut across her face. Too big, too sharp. Lena's breath hitched, her body, her sleeping self. It turned, looked directly into the webcam, directly at her. The file ended. Lena slammed the laptop shut, her pulse hammering. The air in her room felt heavy. Wrong. A sound broke the silence. A whisper, not from the laptop, from behind her. She turned slowly, her throat tightening. Nothing, just her dark room. The closet door was open a crack. Had it been like that before? The laptop chimed again. She swallowed hard and flipped the screen open. New video uploaded. Her shaking hands clicked the file. It was a live feed of her room. The bed was empty, but the closet door was open wider now. And inside, something moved, something smiling. Then the screen glitched. Just for a second. But in that second, Lena saw something impossible. Her own face staring back. Only it wasn't hers. The grin widened. Her lips moved. A whisper slid through the speakers, curling around her like fingers in the dark. "Let me in." The laptop screen flickered and died. And in the silence, the closet door creaked open the rest of the way. Ethan Graves had been streaming for 3 years, and in that time, he'd built a modest but loyal audience. Mostly night owls, horror junkies, and insomniacs who liked his dark, atmospheric streams. His setup wasn't fancy. A dimly lit corner of his apartment, cheap LED lights casting eerie colors on the walls, and a single microphone picking up every creak and rustle of his old apartment. But he needed an upgrade. His old webcam was grainy, and his viewers had been complaining about the lag. So when he stumbled across an old camera at a pawn shop, he thought it was fate. It was shoved on a dusty shelf, its lens cracked like a spider's web. There was no brand, no markings, just a cold, weighty feel when he picked it up. The pawn shop owner, a squat man with yellowed fingernails, barely glanced at him when he brought it to the counter. $30, the man grunted. No refunds. Ethan handed over the cash without hesitation. That night he set it up for a test stream. The feed was shockingly crisp, almost too clear, as if it didn't just capture his face but something deeper. The tiny twitches in his muscles, the flicker of his pupils, the faint, ghostly reflections in his eyes. His chat lit up immediately. Dogfang 92. New cam looks dope. Bro? Short Hunter. What's that behind you? Ethan frowned. What? He glanced over his shoulder. Just his bookshelf, lined with horror memorabilia, Funko Pops, and a plastic skull. Nothing was there. Dead Pixel 13. Dude, I swear, I saw movement. Ethan laughed, brushing it off. Y'all are messing with me. I live for horror, remember? You can't scare me. He kept streaming, but every few minutes, another comment popped up. Who's that behind you? Did something just move? Bro, check behind you. Finally, he pulled up the playback on his second monitor, and his stomach dropped. At first, everything looked normal. Him talking, laughing. But in the background, the bookshelf shifted. Not in a way books might settle. It lurched, like something had brushed past it. Then there was the mirror. A small antique thing on the far wall, mostly out of frame. His reflection should have been still, matching his movements. But in the footage, his reflection blinked at the wrong time. He snapped his head toward the mirror in real life, heart pounding. Just his own face, pale and tense. But on the screen, in the recorded footage, his reflection was still staring at him, even though he had already turned away. A chill crawled up his spine. He ended the stream. The next night he hesitated before going live. The pawn shop guy had said no refunds, but maybe he should just trash the camera. Still, curiosity gnawed at him. He convinced himself it was a weird lag, maybe some AI face tracking glitch. He turned the camera on. His chat exploded almost immediately. Hex and ritual. Holy shit, they're closer. Voidwalker. What the fuck, turn around. Ecto Fiend, there's a hand on your shoulder, dude. Ethan felt ice in his veins. He wasn't going to look. Not this time. Instead, he gritted his teeth and typed back in chat. Nice try, guys. Not falling for it. But the messages kept coming, more frantic now. Your eyes. Ethan, your eyes. He finally pulled up the stream preview, and his breath caught in his throat. The camera feed showed him, sitting there, staring at the screen, but his eyes were wrong, too wide, too dark. And in the background, shadows, crawling, shifting, twisting along the walls like ink in water. And then, his reflection smiled. Ethan did not. The stream crashed. He woke up in his chair, hours later, a static hum in his ears. The laptop was off. The camera was still pointed at him. its cracked lens reflecting the dim glow of his monitor. He didn't remember falling asleep. His phone buzzed. A notification from Discord. His friend Adam. Dude, what the hell was that last night? Ethan frowned, rubbing his eyes. What do you mean? You were just sitting there for like 2 hours. No blinking, no talking, just staring. Ethan's stomach twisted. He pulled up the recorded stream. At first, it was like Adam said. Him, sitting completely still, eyes fixed on the screen. But then, at the 2-hour mark, he moved. Not a normal movement, a sharp jerking snap of his head toward the camera. And he grinned. Not a smirk. A wide, horrible grin that stretched too far, splitting his face open like a cracked mask. Then in the footage, he leaned forward and whispered something into the camera. His heart pounded as he turned up the volume. His own voice twisted, layered, inhuman, rasped. Almost time. Ethan shoved the laptop away. His own voice, saying something he had no memory of. The camera light flickered. The next night, he debated not streaming, but his notifications were blowing up, people demanding to know what was happening, others saying they were worried about him. Some swore his reflection was still streaming, even after he ended the broadcast. That was impossible. Wasn't it? He went live. The chat was instant. Samhain Spectre, don't. Necrobite. Ethan, stop streaming. Throw the camera out. Blood Vulture. It's too late. They're already here. The shadows behind him deepened. The mirror. His reflection didn't move. It just sat there, watching him, with that same awful grin. Then the messages turned. Where are you, dude? You just disappeared. We can still see the room. But you're gone. Ethan waved at the camera, confusion mounting. Guys, I'm literally right here. But his voice didn't transmit. The camera feed, according to the chat, showed only an empty chair. And then the screen glitched. The image distorted. And when it cleared, the camera was no longer facing his desk. It was facing his closet. The door was open. The last thing his viewers saw was movement. A flicker of something pale. A glimpse of fingers curling around the edge of the door. And then the screen went black. The stream never ended. It just kept rolling, broadcasting nothing. And Ethan Graves was never seen again.